Tyler, shut up!
Keep it down over there.
I'll stuff up your podcast. Welcome back to the Against All Odds podcast, the only podcast where we have Tyler Hornsby in the background coughing up a storm, so please excuse this. Roll intro. Tyler never laughs at any of my jokes, so hopefully in the future he will. But
we'll have to put in a laughing sound.
Tyler just
effect.
I'll somehow go back on the videos, find him laughing, get that laugh track, and then put that into the podcast so it sounds like my joke's funnier than it actually is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Mimi, the World Cup just finished. In New Zealand, we had to watch that at 3 a.m. I think that is the absolute most inconvenient time that you can possibly listen to this.
Besides 2.
No, I think 3 a.m.'s worse.
You think 3's worse?
Well, think about it. If it's at 2, I don't know. I feel like you could almost stay up till 2.
Yeah. And
then it would be finished by 4, and then you could go to bed and have at least 5 hours of sleep and wake up at 9 and have a normal day. But at 3, it's you basically get 4 hours or 5 hours before, and then afterwards it's okay, it's 5 a.m. Do you go? It's kind of like morning. Do you stay up?
I wasn't listening.
Thanks, Mimi. Welcome to the Against All Odd podcast, where I just talk to myself the entire time.
That was a long sentence. Yeah, so Shelly wanted to come home to England. He was really sad when they got out. Devastated.
Absolutely not. I honestly, I know I have a lot of fans from London, but I really wanted England to lose. I think
I love you, London, but I hate your team.
It's nothing bad. I love the "it's coming home" memes. I love those jokes. I love the story. I love the passion. I think it's so cool. But I think it's just my deep heart as an American that I have to root against the English.
No one else feels that way.
I'm sure lots of Americans feel that way. Yeah.
What was that one thing you said when I asked if you were watching something and then you were like, my relatives fought? Oh. What was that about?
That was the British wedding.
Oh yeah, it was the wedding. Yeah. It was the wedding with Harry and Meghan. I texted Shelly. I was like, are you going to watch the royal wedding? He's like, what did you say? You're like, my great grandfathers fought for the right for me to not give a shit about that wedding.
Yeah, because I don't understand the hype around the royal wedding. What's the point?
Did you see it? It was beautiful.
I did not see it at all.
Well, if you saw, you would understand. That's the problem.
Well, I don't care. I don't even care enough to care. I don't even care enough to even look at the highlight after. I don't know. But anyway, the World Cup, it was good. I thought this World Cup was amazing. The goals, the penalties, the VAR system was very interesting to see in action. Even in the World Cup final. I mean, to have the VAR called on the handball was interesting. It was a handball.
I mean, we all saw it.
It was a handball for sure.
It was a handball.
I mean, even though the intent wasn't there, it changed the direction of the ball. It hit the hand. It was not in a natural position. It was out wide. So I think it was a handball all day. And then what do you think in terms of Griezmann's kind of dive before he got that penalty or the free kick?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, that's like me ingraining it into your head.
It is. Well, it's like that one quote you posted of that one guy. He said
Way to narrow that down.
No, it was someone asked him if he regretted, he did something like that in the World Cup or something.
It was Maradona doing the handball. The hand of God, yeah.
That guy.
No, I think, I think there's a big difference between completely diving where you're not hit at all and you're just trying to trick and deceive the ref versus if you're fouled and you were just you lose that play on the ball and so you fall because now you're put at a disadvantage and now you're just gaining back that advantage that you lost from being tackled. A lot of people disagree with that. I got a lot of hate in my video soccer players should dive, but that's honestly what I feel like. And I don't know, in that play honestly it was really, really soft, but when it comes down to it, there was contact. He did fall.
Do you think that him diving before anything really happened was just because he knew that they were going to foul him?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what you do is when you're playing and you see a guy coming in hard, or you see that you're about to get in a very sticky situation, you can kind of leave out your trail leg. You can let your legs kind of hang out behind you. And then as soon as you feel contact, you just go down with that contact.
Well, then, it's just fair game. It's like when you see someone about to break up with you, you break up with them first.
Exactly. That's some like Mean Girls stuff.
It is.
Yeah, no. So I thought it was an amazing World Cup. The final was great. I thought France deserved it, even though I would love to see Croatia win.
I'm just bummed that we are not in France right now. How cool would that be to be
amazing,
in the country of the winners?
I think that's one of my goals in my entire life is to be in the country that wins the World Cup.
So in the future, we're going to go to the games, and then we're going to pick one that we think is going to go all the way.
Yeah.
Buy tickets, hope that it's the right one.
Well, this is what I think we can do. I mean, we'll go and watch the World Cup wherever it's played. Okay. And then once the final comes in and we see the two teams,
we'll buy tickets to both.
No.
They'll make reservations both places.
No.
Nice hotels.
No.
Okay.
Because you have to be there when it actually wins.
Yeah.
So you have to just
that's true. You can't just fly there afterwards.
You have to take that 50-50 guess.
But even afterwards, like I saw the Champs-Élysées. Okay, French people are going to really get mad at me for this one.
Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, that road. I mean, that was like the day after with the winners, and that looked amazing. Yeah, so even if you're there the day after.
No, yeah, it'd be awesome the day after. But I think that moment where they win, that final whistle blows, would be just probably one of the best moments, like anywhere, anytime. That's like going to be some of the best. I couldn't even imagine that. And my lifetime goal is to see that happen in the U.S. Could you imagine the United States?
It's not going to happen.
It will in my lifetime. In my lifetime,
I don't think it will.
You want to bet?
You think we're going to win it in your lifetime?
100%.
What are we betting on?
$1 million. And Tyler laughing in the background.
We got it. Oh no.
$1 million.
$1 million.
And one kiss. No kiss.
I'll give you that for free.
Just the $1 million.
Okay.
Deal.
That they're gonna win, or it's just gonna.
The U.S. is gonna win.
I mean, I'm hoping we even get in it again.
We will.
Okay.
It's gonna be hosted in our country here soon, so we'll get that one.
So speaking of Usain Bolt.
He is now on trial with an A-League team, or will be on trial with an A-League team,
which is in Australia.
God.
I'm trying to spit out some facts that I know.
That it is in Australia. Mm-hmm. Have you seen him play?
I saw him in that trial. They showed like a highlight, and he just headed the ball
with Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he get?
I mean,
a good team, right?
If you watch clips of him, like I'm a big believer that the best athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, when he switched sports over to baseball, or
Wait, he did that?
Are you kidding me? You just piercing my soul right now. Yeah. So
Where did he do that?
Oh man.
Where did he go?
That's what Space Jam. It's in Space Jam.
I thought that was just a movie.
Well, Space Jam's just a movie, but he made that switch over to baseball and played minor leagues.
That was just in the movie.
No. In real life, Michael Jordan. So right after his dad died, pretty much, his dad always wanted him to be a baseball player. That was his favorite sport. So he quit basketball once he got, he had this amazing career. He quit basketball in order. He talked about it because his dad always wanted him to play baseball. So he had this opportunity. He quit and basically announced that he was going to try to play in the MLB. And he did months of training, with his personal trainer, baseball workouts. He was doing these preseason trainings. It's just amazing. Like the amount of work he put in, like there's stories. He'd go to the batting cage at like 7 a.m. and work with the batting coach up until like 11, 12 in the middle of the day. Then the team training would start and be like a 3-hour training. Then he'd stay after and work on his other mechanics or work on something else or do a baseball workout. It was like all day. And so I know Usain Bolt has the mentality and the drive because he's the fastest person who ever lived. So he knows what.
Besides you.
Besides me, yeah. No, but he knows what it's like.
I mean, he has the dedication, 100%. But do you think that he has the skill?
I just think that it's going to be very tough. And I think if he is signed somewhere, I really do think it's going to be more of a publicity stunt. So if an A-League team signs him or, even if let's say a USL team signs him, it's just to get more people to the games. I feel that soccer is a sport that can't really be learned. I know he's been playing his entire life more like recreationally and even a little bit more competitively. Yeah, he said he plays like
every weekend with his friends.
But to be a pro, I just don't see it working out. And I mean, I hope it doesn't, but it's just not something that you
can't learn football even with YouTube tutorials.
I mean, if he watches Become Elite, he would probably be in the English Premier League by now. But no, I mean, that's how I really feel. Like I just don't think this is a sport that can be done or learned in 2 or 3 years. I feel like baseball, if you're like a left fielder, if you're to learn to catching the ball and like batting mechanics, it would take years. But if you have that athletic base, I think you can learn that faster than actually playing soccer. Kind of same with football, like American football or even like rugby. There are lots of skills involved in those sports, but those are skills like, I know some great football players that played D1 collegiately who started when they were 17, 18. I don't know anybody in the EPL or the top levels of soccer that started that late. It's hard. And if they do start that late, then it's an amazing story. I know there's like one guy that started a little bit later, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to follow. But I've watched a couple clips of Usain Bolt play. He needs some work. Like his technical ability is not the best.
How would you feel though, as a professional athlete, trying you're truly set on doing something like this, and knowing that teams might just sign you for your name, or knowing that people might think it's like a gimmick?
I actually worry about that with myself.
Like, I feel like that would be a really tough situation.
No, I worry about that with myself now. My YouTube channel is getting bigger and bigger. It's encroaching 200,000 subscribers. Is the team going to reach out to me and offer a contract or give me a trial because of the publicity they know I would bring? I know I'm not anywhere close to Usain Bolt's status, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
It's just something to think about. And I haven't had any of that so far. But it's just in the back of my mind, like, I wonder if that's going to happen. Luckily, I've already played at the USL level. I know that it's not going to be like a sham, but just as I think about it, or if that's going to be like helping me get there, if it's going to hurt me, what it's going to be like.
Do you think that, just to play devil's advocate, that people have higher expectations for people like Usain Bolt because he is the fastest person that ever lived? Like, do you think that the bar will be set higher for him?
It's tough. I mean, I don't really think like he's going to have higher expectations because he's not a professional soccer player, but he will obviously gain attention like Michael Jordan. When he went to the minor league team, they sold out every single game from then on out. And like his teammates at first had some animosity towards him because they're like, oh, coming over from like basketball, thinks this is easy, blah, 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 blah. He's just disrespectful for disrespecting the sport. But then they saw how hard he worked. They saw his work ethic. They saw that he really cared. And then they also saw that, look, scouts were at every game watching Michael Jordan, and they were also watching everybody else at the game. So it created a lot of opportunities for them. They got to play in a packed house every single night. So it kind of shifted from animosity to more like appreciation. So I don't know if it's going to be the same with Usain Bolt or not.
I don't know. You know how I tend to have a lot of like empathy, I guess, towards people?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. But I feel like I feel bad for him almost, because I know that like this isn't just a joke to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he's a true athlete. Like this is his entire life, and he's going to dedicate everything he has towards it. And I think it's really amazing that he's trying to do something like this, Yeah. Because like I'm coming from the point of view where like in high school, I didn't try out for any sport because I was scared of what people thought. Like this guy's in front of the entire world trying out for a sport that he never played. Like that takes a lot of balls.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much criticism on him, which is like, I'm like 50-50 because I
see it from your point of view because you are a football player and you're like, yeah. I work every day of my life. Like, why should you just come out here and get a contract because of your name? Like I see that and I see the frustration of that. But
no, I'm like 50-50 split in between because it's like, I do want it to work out. I hope that he proves like his work ethic. That could be such an amazing story. And if he really does turn up and play well, but if I just don't want to see him go to a team and be almost like a laughing stock,
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, because they have amazing players on those teams that are just benched, that don't even get a chance to play.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
It's the same thing. It literally was the same exact thing with Michael Jordan. Like they said that he's taking the spot of somebody who's worked his entire life. But then they said, the team wouldn't be playing Michael if he didn't deserve it, like with his skills, because they need to win.
Yeah.
And so it also like I said, more scouts come, packed house.
Because teams don't want to be a laughing stock either, because whoever signs Usain Bolt is either going to be really smart or a laughing stock, Mm-hmm. And so that's a risk that teams are going to have to take too, because they're going to have to put their trust in this person.
Yeah.
Because like, is selling out seats worth it if we're not winning,
Mm-hmm. I have no idea. It will be interesting to follow, but like when you saw like for Borussia Dortmund, you know, when I saw him on trial for Borussia Dortmund, I was like yeah, that's cute, you know.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. But yeah,
I don't know. I guess whenever I see athletes switching sports like that and just having the balls to do that, I've always just been, you know, proud of that and jealous, I guess, of their guts.
Yeah, it's like Bo Jackson playing baseball and football, like NFL football.
Isn't there was a football player, he was a quarterback and now he plays baseball.
Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not doing it anymore.
Well, what is he doing now? He's playing a different sport now? Basketball?
he's trying out for the
Making his rounds.
New York Knicks.
Playing football now. Why don't we switch the topic?
Yeah,
we're always talking about soccer.
We've been talking about soccer a lot.
I don't play soccer. I don't even know it very well.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, I mean, I hope you would know by now if you're listening to this podcast, episode 3. But Mimi,
Podbean.com.
Mimi is a like interior designer, runs an awesome website, YouTube channel, blog, Instagram, all for this interior design. I think it's amazing. But how do you think our styles like compare with interior design, like in our future house one day?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about because I feel like a lot of times when a woman has a passion like I do, then they kind of just take the reins and just kind of decorate how they want to. And I've always disliked that, you know, when a whole house is pink, when there's a guy who lives in there, you know, it's like you want to design for all the people that are living in the house. And
you can just see the guy like walking around, just like his soul is sucked out of his eyes.
I almost feel like it's just mean. It's just, I feel like you need to take other people into consideration. And luckily we have pretty similar tastes. There's only a few differences, but for the most part, we both like modern. We both like minimal. Like he really likes modern, minimal, like nothing old.
I hate old people.
He just hates, like, that's just the one difference we have where like if I go into like an old Victorian house and the floors are creaking, like I think that's kind of cool because I grew up in San Diego, again, kind of in a bubble. There was nothing old. Like our oldest thing was probably like 50 years old. And so I love seeing antique things and old fireplaces, molding. Like I love that. And he just looks at it like, ugh, tear it down. Like we need to build something modern in here.
I don't know. I love that super new, clean look where it's just so minimalistic that like it just looks like nobody even lives in it sometimes. But then I want like all I really care about is it to be uncluttered, and I want it to be clean, and I want it to be modern for somewhat, and I just need a big, comfy couch. That is my big thing. I need a big, comfy couch. About the sofa.
Yeah, I think our biggest struggle is going to be then to make it homey and feel cozy at the same time as modern, minimal, uncluttered, because we don't want it to be, what was that word I used? Stark. You don't want it to be stark.
Yeah.
We need cozy elements.
But my dream is just, I mean, what would be like a couch? Like what's a cozy element?
Well, yeah, I mean, even a sofa, like some sofas are cozy and some aren't. Like some are inviting and some are not. Some have comfortable arms and others have just square,
yeah.
You know?
I see what you're saying. No, I definitely for a couch. I mean, couches are comfort for me. Like that's like where I take my naps
hard on
for
them.
5 minutes and then I'm up.
He did that today. He's like, man, like I need a nap, and he closed his eyes for 5 minutes. I read like one page in my book, and then he popped up. He's like, I feel great. I'm like, you just fell asleep.
It's like Buddy the Elf in Elf.
No, it was exactly like that. I was like,
how'd you sleep last night? Great, I got a full 20 minutes. But no, I don't know what it is, but I just can feel it when I'm even doing that. Like I just need to close my eyes, relax, and then I can just feel it. I'm so tired, and then something switches, and then all of a sudden it's more of like a effort to keep my eyes closed instead of trying to effort to keep my eyes open, and it just switches up for me. I don't know if anybody else is out there is like that.
No, you're weird.
But 5 minutes, that's all I need. 5 minute power nap.
No, if I nap, it's like hours.
I mean, I have my hour power naps too, but
we do that.
We
haven't napped together in a long time. We used to do that all the time.
Yeah, back when we weren't busy as.
Yeah. What do they say here? As.
They say as for everything.
Oh, yeah,
busy as, sweet
and
as.
I'm like, finish it.
Like, go on.
As what?
Yeah, you can literally, it's just, I mean, it's pretty nice though, because like, it's funny because it's intending busy as F, you know, like the F word. But then like you'll have like parents or old ladies go, oh yeah, I'm busy as, and you're like
whoa,
you're like implying they're gonna say the F word, which is kind of funny. But no, I like it. But yeah, we've just been, I don't know, we've just really, especially when we're you just coming in, it's either we're working on the podcast, working on videos, editing, or we're out actually exploring New Zealand and just trying to have a good time here. So there's not much time, like any of our downtime, we want to like, no, let's not waste it. Let's go do something.
Yeah, we need a day where we just sit. That's tomorrow, by the way. That's gonna happen tomorrow.
I'm cannot wait.
Yeah, he's already making plans.
I can see why people get booms for their mics.
I know this is giving me bad posture.
And you think I'm like 4 or 5 inches taller than you, so I'm really scrunched down. Because that was the problem with some of our audio was before, is I would stand up like this and I would talk, and then your mic would pick up my voice just the same. But the closer I am to it, then it doesn't get that echo. So now I just sit here like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, trying to do this. That's the house
we lived in.
Trying to do that, huh?
That's the house we lived in.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good times.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, but I can't wait. We'll have our own studio. The Become Elite, or no, not. I always want to say.
Damn it,
I'm sorry.
This isn't just
this is not the Become Elite podcast.
Even though he's wearing a Become Elite shirt, I didn't get the memo. I need to get some merch made for
all
myself.
Merchandise 50% off. I don't have any merch.
No, he doesn't.
I
think
have
he's time for that. Where would he mail it from? The Hornsby's. I'm saying, where would you mail it from?
No, I mean it's just with one day when I'm done with my career. Merchandise.
Well, I'm sure if people have watched your videos, they saw you developing those t-shirts, and then it kind of just stopped. You never really said anything.
Yeah, I literally got to the final stages. I had all the colors,
so hard,
all the measurements, everything perfect, and then literally they're like, "Okay, do you want to place the bulk order?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and this was just like when I was like trying to decide where to go, and then I came down to New Zealand. I'm like, I can't get.
We just need to be in one place a little bit longer than what we're doing right now for you to actually develop a product like that.
Yeah, one day, but I'm in no rush. I mean, I just want to focus on videos. Like that's my passion, is creating videos. So everything else will come. I just make the videos right now, and as long as people still like them, people still watch me, then the merchandise and everything and I don't want to be merchandise. That's a big pet peeve of mine, is like when you have the same size t-shirt and you slap on.
You actually want it to be functional. You want it to be training clothes for people to actually work out in and train in, not just like to promote your name.
Even some lifestyle stuff, but even the shirt, like I tailored skinnier for a more athletic fit. Yeah. And then I have it like more of a V shape. I have it longer. I have the sleeves tighter. I have the neck tighter. Because I hate that like box. So I just wanted that stuff to fit exactly how I would want it to fit, and how I feel like the typical soccer player body it would fit best for. So, but yeah, it will come. But yeah, definitely fun. When are you gonna have some Mimi Estelle stuff?
It's in the works. No, I'm still working on my whole branding logo thing, which I actually want to talk about because I love branding. I love graphic design. I love creating logos, everything. And I feel like for Against All Odds, I have like completely thrived. Like that's been like my ish lately.
Yeah.
But for some reason, over the last like couple years, whenever it comes to doing my own thing, I like just get this total creative block. And I think it's just because like when you're making the decisions for somebody else, and the same as with design, it's easier when it's for somebody else. But when it's for yourself and you're a perfectionist, it's like it's so much harder to make the decisions. But I can't decide on a logo for myself, and it's the most frustrating thing. I just feel like this weight is just on. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Like, you know how it is. I just sit there like trying to figure it out, and it's just I can't. No, I don't know what it is.
It makes sense. I mean,
it's like I did it for Become Elite. I did it for Against All Odds.
Easy.
No problem. Like instantly. And I just spit out like a million of these images, and it frustrates me a lot.
But even then, like we'll be working on something and I'll have it all done up. And then you're like, oh, I want to change this tiny little thing on it. I'm like, Mimi, you realize this means I got to delete this and start all the way back from the 2 hours of work that we just did.
It just kills for this him. Change. But the thing is, like, if you look at our feed on Instagram, like, it looks cool.
The Instagram feed looks amazing. I'll give you that.
And you're the kind of person where like, it's fine, like, move on. And those little things, those little hiccups and differences, like, those kill me if I don't fix them. And in the end, people are always grateful. But it's during that you get a little frustrated.
Yeah. No. Yeah, definitely.
But I wish I had something for myself.
Maybe I could try.
I always ask you, just because getting someone else's opinion, I mean, even if you just scribble something and the way that you scribbled it could just inspire something in my head. It doesn't even have to be like your own thing.
Tonight. I finished pretty much all my work for tonight. So after training, when I come back, I will try to create some stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a logo, right? You don't need the logo.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's just like the typeface that I want, or if I want, like, I like how you're Become Elite. We created like that little design. I like that because it's like on your Instagram profile picture, you don't have to write Become Elite or put a picture of your face. You just have that and they know it's you.
Yeah.
They associate it with you. And I want that.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of that logo, I never really talk about the logo and like what it means.
Oh, so, yeah, that would be good to talk about.
Yeah. So it's on the back of my shirt if you're watching on YouTube.
Wait, we're on the right in the back?
Yeah, it's right on the top of the neck.
Gotta lay across the table here.
No, we'll use your
We'll camera. Photoshop it right here. That might be easier.
That's so much easier. But if you don't know what it is, it basically is two triangles almost pointing at each other. But the idea from it is it's kind of to represent an hourglass, which is, I think, is amazing. And it's all about how you have all this time like up in the top of the hourglass. Just like just when you flip over the hourglass and all the sand's at the top.
Yeah, because the bottom is a void. The bottom's empty and the top is the solid.
And so the whole idea behind it is just, what are you going to do with that sand at the top? As it's falling through, that's the time passing. So are you working? Are you training? Are you improving your life, your future self? Or are you sitting back and doing nothing? And that's like so simple, but I love it.
And the cool thing about logos and symbolic things like that is it can mean different things for different people. Because when I was drawing it, I was picturing it as like a trophy. To me, it looked like a trophy. Oh. And I felt like that's like what you're always working towards, is just perfection and winning. And you saw it was kind of cool. You saw it more as an hourglass. And I was like, you know what, that's cool because it could be both. It doesn't have to be just one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I immediately saw his hourglass. I'm like, that's awesome. All the time at the top. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I made.
You're like, totally. I meant to do that.
But no, I will do that tonight. I'll just throw out some ideas for you.
Yeah, my family, I love doing this with them. And I've done it for you. That's actually how I started with your logo, and actually with your friend back on.
Yeah, AJ.
Yeah. Whenever I'm starting to do a logo, I just get a bunch of blank pieces of paper. I know it's a waste, but a bunch of blank pieces of paper. And I usually just use a Sharpie or a marker or something. And I just start just scribbling. And I usually start with like words that I associate with the logo or with the company, whatever. And they could be emotions, nouns, verbs, whatever, anything. And then I just start scribbling. And my whole family, it's funny because they all get so into it. It's almost like a competition, like who can think of the best logo first. Yeah. So I'll start drawing in the corner and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, you know, AJ Gray on Shelly's team needs a logo. So I'm just drawing it over here. And like, oh, what about this one? And then they'll grab a piece of paper and they'll start drawing it. Yeah. And then like my dad will come over and he's like, what about this one? He'll start drawing it. And we all get so absorbed into this because it's almost like I said, it's like a competition just to create something, like the best thing you can. And everybody's trying to do it. And it's cool because you get to see everybody's points of view and you can put them together. And like, I look at what they're doing and I'm like, I never even thought of that. Like, that's a great idea.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But a funny story with that is that he was creating a company, something with the initials. It was like KK.
Just two Ks.
Just two Ks.
Just to clear that.
Yeah, just two Ks. And we were all using Sharpies and stuff. And my brother kept using just one piece of paper. So it kept bleeding through. So after he finished his doodling or whatever, we pulled his paper away. And our whole dining table, we have like this metal top dining table. It's really cool. There was just a bunch of K's on it and we can't get it off. So there's like a bunch of K's. So he's like, fine, I'll move to the coffee table. So he moved to our coffee table and then he started doing it there. And now we have K's all over our coffee table from his logo. And it's just all over. And I think I have some Become Elites too.
So when he learned that the first time, he didn't bring more paper? No. Makes sense. I can see that.
No, we don't work like the Sheldons. If you guys don't know this about Shelly, Matt, he loves reading educational, intellectual books. And I do too, don't get me wrong. But like, he thrives on it. And when he walks into a bookstore, he goes straight to the motivation section, the business section, the econ section, science section. Like, that's just the way he just walks directly. I always go to historical fiction. That's my favorite. But he's told me a few times, I know he doesn't feel this way completely, but he sees like fun reading as it is leisurely, but it's almost kind of like a waste of time for you. And you would rather be reading a book where you're like completely learning something.
Yeah, it's hard because I have read fun books. I've read Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, I know you have because I've gotten you some.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like reading this book. I'm like, what? Who cares? It's a story, and I know it's a terrible mentality. Yeah. But I'm like, it's made up. I don't know. It's hard for me to say like it's made up, and so like I don't know. Sometimes I can't get into it unless it's a really really good story.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, like Harry Potter. But other time I just love learning, especially like these science books. Like one of my favorite books ever was Sapiens by I forgot who wrote it. Sapiens.
You told me that.
I'll put it up if you're watching on the YouTube, it'll be up here.
Yeah, it's great. But it's like the history of all
it's
man.
the history of mankind and like why we are the way we are. Like sociologically.
Sociologically.
That word. Like psychology.
Psychologically.
I can't say any of these words.
No, actually, I loved when you read that book because every day you used to come to me like, Mimi, do you know why humans gossip? Yeah. It's because the people who had more information about the other tribes were the ones who were let in. Like all this stuff. So every day I was learning something too.
Every page I was like mind blown, and I loved that book. There's just so many tidbits that I applied it all to life. And same with like Malcolm Gladwell book, like or his books like the 10,000 hour rule and like outliers and stuff like that. Like just the idea about social constructs and why stuff works. Same with even econ books. Like I love learning about the economy and investing patterns and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I've grown up, it's gotten harder for me to get into those books. But see, that's what I wanted to talk
about, though, because I know you have such a strong mentality when it comes to certain things, where I just wanted to know, like, where do you draw a line?
With what?
Just with everything, you know? It's like, you know, when you eat food, like, you don't let yourself eat the potatoes until you've eaten all of the broccoli. Like, you won't even touch it. You know, like, you don't want to read.
People listening to this probably think I'm so weird.
Yeah, he is.
They're like, this guy is
This is just the tip of the iceberg, guys.
This guy is messed up.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I just feel like you have such strong...
Like...
What's the word?
It's not beliefs. It's like strong... just how I do things.
It's just the way you do things. Like, I'm just wondering if you think that it's ever like a negative. If it ever works against you.
No, I do. Like
when?
Enjoying food. I don't enjoy food. It's all numbers to me.
He doesn't enjoy food.
Like I literally go, okay, I'm going to get my carbs in, eat my rice. Okay, now my protein, eat my protein. Get some fats, and I'll go have like, I cooked it in butter and olive oil. Now I need some micronutrients, so let's get some vegetables in. And like sometimes, I mean, I have my ice cream. I like going out to get a nice steak.
Yeah, no, I mean, you do enjoy life.
But like a lot of times it's like numbers for me. And so it's like I'm not like enjoying it as much. Same with books, like leisurely. I have a problem reading this made up story because I'm like, it's made up. What is this? You know, like sometimes I can get into the story and I love it and I read it all the way through. And I'm like, that was an awesome story. But I don't know. That's sometimes like, how's this benefiting me? You know, I'm always like, how is this benefiting? It's always like benefit. I want it to benefit me.
Because I feel like I'm always telling people about your like quirks and the way that you see things, just because I think it's interesting and I think it's really good when it comes to a lot of things, like with news. He doesn't read the news. He doesn't watch the news. He doesn't care about the news. And some of you out there might be saying that's completely wrong. You know, that makes you a bad patron. Like, you should care. You should be involved. But from his point of view, watching those 20 minutes of bad television about something that our president did, that someone did, how is that going to affect me? How is that going to affect my life? It's just going to waste time.
And it's like, yeah, the president does affect you, but...
And it does so indirectly. But the thing is like, you only care about like... instantaneous benefit.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't directly benefit you, then you don't care.
And if I can't directly control it, I don't bother with it. And so I mean, for the news, it's like sometimes I know it's good to be like what Putin's doing or what North Korea's doing, but like literally like I'll watch the news and I'm like, it's pointless.
Yeah, because sometimes I find myself defending it, but then other times I find myself thinking like, you know, maybe it would be a good thing to care. Yeah, you know, maybe like being a U.S. citizen, you should care, maybe. Like but at the same time, I get it because, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Because my mom comes home every single day, if she's listening. It's true. She comes home every day, turns on the news, and then is just sad. She just sits there and she's sad. You know, and then she turns it off, and then it affects her for the rest of the night because she's sad.
The news is
and it's
all
like,
negative.
Why? And I always tell her, like, Mom, you know, Shelly doesn't watch the news. Like, he doesn't let it affect him. And she's like, you know, he's right. Like, he's wise, you know. But at the same time, it's so hard to do that. Like, once you're already, you know, in this routine and you're used to doing it a certain way, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I just really think that the news, especially too, it's the negative news wins because negative invokes such an emotion in people, and that's what they care about. That's what they want to see because it's shocking.
Yeah, because there's so many like newspapers, websites, programs that are trying to be like positive. There's like the happy newspaper,
the happy.
They don't get all the publicity that the bad ones do.
Who wants to read a newspaper about crime's down? cool story, bro.
It's just so backwards.
But like and right now in history, this is like the least violent time we've ever had in history. The least amount of wars, the least amount of crime. In terms of people's happiness and well-being, we are in the best time in history in the entire world. But yet, all people do is complain. And so it's just like, I'm done. I don't want to hear it. Like, literally for me, it's like, it's not worth it. And unless it's like everybody in the state of Oregon needs to evacuate right now, okay, then I'll evacuate. But then I'm sure my neighbors are going to be like, hey, did you hear? You're going to evacuate Oregon. I'm like, really? And like, yeah, you didn't hear?
You're here?
Yeah, so that's like, and I hear it so much too. Like, I hear everybody telling me all the news. So why do I don't know. I'll work on other stuff. I'll work on Become Lead. I'll read leisurely maybe instead.
See, this is just one of those things I wanted you guys to learn about him, because I don't think he shows these things.
I'm messed up.
He is.
He's
just very wise, but some people might not agree with.
A lot of people don't agree with how I think. And a lot of people tell me all the time, like, you don't enjoy your training, you don't enjoy your food, you don't enjoy life. Like, you need to watch the news because you vote, you're a citizen, you have the best, this is the best thing. People died and fought for your right to vote and to learn about this. And I try, like, sometimes I'll sit down, like, you know what? I really should learn about this. 2 sentences in, I'm done.
Yeah, it's like, I totally get where you're coming from, but at the same time, as like your partner, your life partner, when something's happening in the world, it's fun to discuss. It's fun to talk about things. And like, I'll bring up something to you like I did yesterday, and you're like, so what's going to happen? How's it going to affect you? Yeah. And I'm like, no, like, I just want to talk about it. It's like, I just want like a discussion back. Like, not that I really care, not that it's affecting my life, but it's just fun to talk about, like, it's not all going to be for your benefit.
Sometimes I'm kind of harsh. I'm like, I don't know. And Mimi, I love you, but I do not
I know.
care.
I was like, Shelly, Trump and Putin were locked in a room for an hour and a half. And he's like, so? I'm like, an hour and a half? Like, what happened? He's like, so? How's it going to affect me?
I was like, I don't care.
I'm like, just talk to me. It's just these little things. It's just these random little things.
It is. It's true. So, speaking of things that do not provide any fulfillment in my life at all, news, reading, stuff like that, I want to know, and I'm sure people want to know, and I think this is something that's so good to answer constantly in your life. What does provide you fulfillment? Like, what really gets you out of bed in the morning and makes you happy every single day? Easy question there for you.
God.
Softball.
On the spotlight now. Instantly, when you say that to me, I think creating things. I've always been an artist.
Over family, over friends.
Yeah. No friends, family. Well, no. Okay. Obviously, my friends, my family provide fulfillment, but I think that's an obvious answer. So I'm just kind of looking beyond the obvious here. Okay. Obviously, that fulfills me.
I just want to make it clear.
You make me happy. Don't worry about it. But creating things does. And my whole life, I've been an artist. I've loved making things. And going to school for interior design and working towards interior design and working as an interior designer, I felt really constrained. And I felt like I had to only create this one type of thing. And I felt like I couldn't expand my life in other ways, and I couldn't be working on other things. And that I felt like blocked almost. And I feel like now that I've quit my job and now that I've come over here and I'm creating other things, I'm doing the podcast, I'm making videos, I'm making all these images and illustrations, I'm doing blog posts, I'm doing my Instagram. Like, I'm creating so many things every day, and they're all different and they're all giving me fulfillment. And I just think that when I look at something that I've created, like, that's what makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. No, I think that's a great answer. And so...
But it's just kind of broad. It's not very specific.
It is broad. But like, at the same time, you like creating, not even content, but you like designing, branding, marketing, that kind of stuff too.
I just like, it's like I told you, like, it's like an author, like people who love to write. Like, when you hold a book and you look at that and you're holding it in your hands and you're like, I wrote this whole thing. Like, that must be the best feeling in the entire world.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to feel, but with other things, with websites, with merchandise, with clothing, with products, with interior design, decoration, like, that's like, I want to just hold something or like look at something and know that I created that.
I think, we talked about this before, but I think one of the things that I really see for you in like your future, and this is something that you told me, I'm not being like, you should do this, but that where you design a line of furniture, like Mimi Estelle's like summer collection, and it's full furniture, everything, and you design it, manufacture it, and you put it up on like a website to sell. I think that is something
that is my ultimate goal. Like that is my dream goal. And I haven't really told you guys this or anybody on any of my platforms yet, but my goal originally was to be an interior designer and create houses and designs for other people. But I've realized, and I've talked to you about this, I want to create products for myself that everybody will enjoy. And I want to just have, it's almost about control. I want to have complete creative control over everything. Mm-hmm. When you're designing a house, when you're designing anything for somebody else, a restaurant, a hotel, whatever it is, you're designing it for somebody else. A lot, it's not going to happen usually that you're the one financing it and it's your vision and your plan and your money. It's always usually for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that just didn't sit right with me. So creating my own product line, that would be like the ultimate dream. Yeah. And like marketing it myself, advertising it myself, branding it, like doing that whole thing, even though I know I can't do that on my own, I would need other people to help. Yeah. That would be the dream completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's cool because you've mentioned it, but I think this is the first time you've full on said that's your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's good to say because I feel like you're very shy with your goals. You don't like even telling me, like you'll kind of hint at something like that'd be cool one day, I think, to do this. And then I'm like, say what you want,
Well, the thing is, I didn't tell you either, but like I had on my phone in notes, I had written down my goals. I had like my monthly goals, my yearly goals, like 10 years, like I had a list of everything that I wanted to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And when I was looking at it before I quit, like a couple days before I quit, I looked at it and I was like, some of these things on here, I don't really even want anymore. Like I just thought I wanted them, and I like erased a bunch of them and I put a new one down on my goal list. I just erased everything and I was like, create my own line.
Really?
Like that's exactly what I want to do.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And like I told my mom over lunch one time, we had like a really good discussion about it, but I look at all these designers, I look at all these interior designers and like when they've made it, like when people coin the term made it, is usually towards the end of their career or the height of their career when they've created a line with somebody else, mm-hmm. with some company. Like I follow a lot of blogs of designers and everything. When they finally get to do like a collection, like a rug collection with Leloy or some famous rug company, like I always looked at that. I was like, I want that. So I always thought that I had to become an interior designer, build a following, have some company notice me so that I can make one collection that would last one season, And I just looked at it and I told my mom, I was like, why don't I just skip all that stuff and just go directly to the end? Because that's the actual part that I want to do. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I like it. Do it. I'm like, okay.
And I think this is crucial too. Like once you build up a social media following, you can do anything with it. It's like if you develop fans and a loyal following, it's about then you have that freedom to design or make or create whatever fits that niche that you have of your loyal following,
mm-hmm. And I think that with design accounts especially, you want to build not only just trust, but you want people to like your taste. Mm-hmm. And that's why I have my Instagrams. That's why I have my blog, because I want people to like and appreciate my taste so that when I do come out with something, they're like, oh, I don't even care what it is. I like her taste. I trust what she's doing. I know I'll like it.
Yeah.
And that would be like the ultimate goal. Yeah. I don't want people to buy things just to buy things. Like that's not what I want to do. I want to design things that I'm actually passionate about, that I would put in my house, that I would want my friends and family to put in their houses. Like no bullshit products, actual nice quality things. And I want people to trust that it's coming from a good place and it's not just some sham just to make merch, I'm not about that.
That's cool. I like it. I think it's awesome.
You heard it here first.
We're going to pull this back like in however many years until you have your line.
Yeah, I don't want you to underestimate or overestimate, so I don't know.
And we're going to pull it back and it'll be like, look, this is back in 2018 when we were in New Zealand. You said, I want to create my line, Mm-hmm. And then we'll show it when we're actually creating your line.
Yeah, and it's like I want to do that so bad right now, but I know that the longer I wait and I know that the more people I get to believe in me, and I know that the more mature I get with my business and everything, that it'll be better. And it's so hard to not rush that because I know that I could go off and get some samples of something right now and try to market it, but it would not be the quality that I want it to be. And my brother was kind of saying, it's like, why don't you just start something now? Like make a bar stool, make something. I'm like, it's not time. Like I know deep down that I have the skill. I know that I could do that, but it's like, it's like with your shirts, you know, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
And you want it to be good.
Focus right now on building
exactly
an audience. Focus on branding yourself. Focus on developing like a loyal following. And then if once you do that, everything else will come. And like my passion for sure is creating videos, training, and obviously playing soccer. That's my number one passion. But I'm just going to play soccer and create videos. And then the training aspect, where it really is into training, will come later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that for everybody out there who doesn't know exactly what they want to do, I would just say, like, don't get hard on yourself and just like let it happen naturally. Because I didn't know this a couple months ago. Like, I didn't know this a year ago. And then all of a sudden one day I just realized, you know, I don't love everything about interior design. I don't love the whole process. I don't love all the tedious things, the planning, the, you know, scales and measuring. I love the things. Yeah. And like, I'm not trying to sound materialistic or anything, but I loved the products. I loved looking at the fabrics. I loved holding all the finishes and looking at them and creating things. And that's the part that I liked. And it's almost like you have to experience the whole thing or experience other things to find out what you like and what you don't like.
Casey Neistat said, if you want to find out what you like, what you're passionate about in life, spend time doing something you hate.
Yeah.
Because then all you're going to be doing is daydreaming about what you wish you could be doing. Mm-hmm. So that's about all we have for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast. If you made it this far into this, then you my homie, just straight up.
Thank you so much for listening. We can't do this without you guys.
Oh, we can.
We can. No one will listen.
We might as well just move these microphones and have this conversation.
We should. Just talk on the couch with these socially.
Just not even turned on.
Yeah.
No, exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, this is Against All Odds podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
And please leave some... And please leave some suggestions, because we took them and used them in this podcast, and it really helps. We want to cater this towards what you want.
Except for yours, Kevin. That one sucked.
Yeah, that was terrible suggestions.
That was a joke.
I know.
I was good. All right. See you guys next time.